You ever look back at your life and realize the biggest mistake you made was simply caring? I'm the older brother. Studious. Responsible. The kid who always came home before curfew, who actually read the fine print, who didn't crash dad's car. While my younger brother, Sean, was the golden boy. He had that charm, that loud laugh, and that natural ability to slide by without doing much. And somehow, people just adored him for it. Growing up, our parents always said we had the same opportunities. Same school, same roof, same food on the table. What they never admitted was that Sean had the freedom to fail, while I had the duty to hold everything together. But I didn't complain. I actually built something out of it. I got my engineering degree, landed a stable job, and started saving early. I didn't go out drinking or waste money on the latest phone. I had bigger dreams. I wanted to travel, not just vacations, but live abroad, see the world from different angles, try languages I didn't grow up with. I had a list: Japan, Norway, Chile, Morocco. I even had a journal titled The Escape Plan. But life has a funny way of testing your boundaries, especially when those boundaries are made of guilt, love, and family ties. It started small. A call from my parents. Can you help us out with the mortgage this month? Dad's hours got cut. Of course I helped. Just temporary, they said. Then Sean needed a few thousand for a business opportunity. A food truck. He had the charm, remember? Made it sound like a guaranteed hit. I helped. He bought the truck and posted Instagram pics with hashtags like #GrindDon'tStop. And somehow I didn't see that he wasn't grinding anything except my patience. I kept putting off my travels. Next year, I told myself, when they're back on their feet. That year became 2, then 5. And I told myself I was doing the right thing. That family comes first. That it's not always about me. I didn't know I was playing the fool in a game I didn't even know existed. But that all changed the day I came home early. And what I heard, it shattered every illusion I'd built. It was supposed to be a surprise. I had taken a few days off work and decided to drive back to my parents' place unannounced. Mom had hinted that she was feeling under the weather, and even though I had wired them money just last week, I figured a short visit and a home-cooked meal might lift their spirits. It's who I am. The guy who shows up, who fixes things. I got there around 3 p.m. I didn't knock. I had a key. I figured I'd quietly let myself in. Maybe pick up some groceries and cook dinner before anyone got home. But as soon as I stepped inside, I heard voices from the kitchen. Sean's voice. Loud and amused. I'm telling you, he actually thinks he's doing something noble. Like he's some selfless hero. It's hilarious. Then my mother's laugh. My mother. Well, if he wants to play the role of generous big brother, who are we to stop him? Let him pay for everything. He has no wife, no kids. He can afford it. And then, as if my stomach hadn't already twisted itself into knots, my brother's wife chimed in. He's so gullible. I mean, really. A travel fund. Who saves for 5 years and never uses it. He'll die with a full passport and an empty life. The three of them burst into laughter. Laughter. I stood frozen in the hallway, grocery bags in hand. It felt like the air had been punched out of my lungs. I wasn't just shocked. I was embarrassed. Embarrassed that I had believed them, trusted them, loved them. I quietly stepped back out the front door and sat in my car for 20 minutes, staring at the wheel like it had betrayed me too. I wanted to storm back in and yell, demand answers, throw all the years of sacrifices back in their faces. But I didn't. I started the car. And I smiled. Because something had snapped inside me. Not broken, no. Shifted. And that's when I realized I wasn't going to confront them. Not yet. First, I was going to play dumb. Then I was going to make every single one of them pay. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept hearing their voices, the laughter, the smugness, the way they twisted my kindness into a joke. It played in loops, over and over, like a broken record in hell. But the anger that usually boils into an outburst in others didn't work that way in me. Mine simmered, focused, hardened into clarity. They thought I was naive. That was their first mistake. The next morning, I called Sean. I made my voice light, casual. Hey, man, sorry I couldn't make it yesterday. Got stuck in traffic and just headed back home. How's everything? He told me he and his wife had gone out with friends. That my parents were doing fine. That everything was good, bro. He had no idea. Step 1 of my plan wasn't explosive. It was quiet, subtle. I started documenting everything. Every bank transfer, every loan, every gift that I had sent over the years. I dug through emails, text messages, old voice notes. I organized it all, dates, amounts, purposes. I even printed out screenshots and built a binder. Yes, a binder. Then I hired someone. A professional. A private investigator. See, while Sean was always the social one, he was also the reckless one. I suspected his business trips weren't exactly business. I figured his wife might not be so loyal either. And I knew that if I scratched beneath the surface, I'd find something rotten. I just didn't expect to find so much. Let's just say the food truck wasn't real. The business account? Empty. Most of the money I gave him went to vacations and online gambling. And his wife? She wasn't just laughing at me behind my back. She was also meeting someone else behind his. As for my parents, the mortgage help they needed? That was a cover too. They'd refinanced the house to take out cash for home upgrades, then pretended they were drowning just to keep the cash flowing in from me. They were all liars. All of them. But I didn't confront anyone yet. No. I smiled in every call. I sent gifts for birthdays. I helped when they asked. Because revenge is a dish best served when they least expect it. And I had something special planned for each and every one of them. Revenge wasn't about rage. Not for me. It was about precision, a chess game. I didn't want to blow up the board. I wanted to flip it after I had all their pieces in place. So I started planting seeds. First, I told Sean I was considering investing in a side project, something just between us brothers. A fake app idea I made up over a weekend. I called it GlidePath, pretended it was some AI scheduling tool for remote workers. I had fake branding, a pitch deck, even a cheap website. All smoke and mirrors. Of course, Sean was all in the moment I mentioned potential investors and early seed funding. Next, I played the good son with my parents. You know, I said on the phone, I've been thinking. I want to help you guys pay off everything. Wipe the slate clean. Maybe even put some savings aside for your retirement. You've done so much for me. My mom practically sobbed with joy. But here's the thing. I asked her for all their financial documents. Just to make sure everything's in order before I talk to my advisor, I said. She sent me everything. Mortgage papers. Refinance documents. Where the money really went. Renovations. A hot tub. A new driveway. A boat. A boat. I made copies of everything. Then came Sean's wife, Rachel. She had always treated me like I was invisible. But once I hinted that I might be coming into some real money soon, she started texting me on the side. Just checking in. You've always been the responsible one. We should hang out sometime. No pressure. Disgusting. But useful. Because I let her flirt. I let her get comfortable. I even baited her into complaining about Sean. I never responded directly, but I kept the messages. Screenshots, time-stamped. All of this, every lie, every scheme, every sneaky move, I logged and stored in a folder I named the Day of Reckoning. No one saw it coming. Because I kept smiling. Because they still thought I was naive. And I was going to let them believe that, right up until the moment I destroyed everything they thought they had control over. By the time I pitched the idea of early investment in GlidePath, Sean was drooling. I could practically hear the dollar signs spinning in his eyes through the phone. Bro, I knew you had something big cooking. You always were the brainy one, he said. What do you need from me? I'm offering friends and family access, I told him. First-tier investors get in cheap, just $10,000 each. If it goes public, you'll walk away with 6 figures easy. There was a pause. I knew he didn't have $10,000 lying around, not with his lifestyle. But I also knew he hated missing out. Okay, he said slowly. Give me a week. A few days later, I got a text. Sean, I talked to Mom and Dad. They're going to help me out. This is going to be huge. I nearly laughed out loud. Let me get this straight. He convinced our parents to fund his investment in a fake company created by me. You can't make this stuff up. Meanwhile, my parents started calling me more often. We're so proud of you, Mom gushed. It's so wonderful that you're helping your brother get ahead. And my dad? The man who once told me dreams were for people without bills? He said, you always were the anchor of this family. Now you're our rising star. Flattery is currency, but I wasn't buying it anymore. While Sean was scrambling for his fake buy-in, I was working with a lawyer and accountant, quietly moving my accounts, putting financial distance between me and them. I also updated my will and set up a living trust. Everything in my life was shifting silently behind the scenes. But the best part? Rachel, my brother's wife, started asking questions. So what's this app really do? She asked one night while Sean was working late. Read. losing money on crypto. Maybe I could help promote it? I told her sweetly, that's really kind of you. Maybe one day you'll be part of it too. Her message that night ended with a winking emoji. I didn't reply because I had just taken the first $10,000 investment from Sean, money taken from our parents, and deposited it into a separate account labeled Payback Fund. They still thought I was building their future, but I was already designing their fall. About 3 weeks after Sean wired me the money, I got a frantic call. Hey man, he said, trying to sound casual but failing miserably. So, what's the timeline again for Glide Path? Like, when do we see stuff move? I leaned back in my chair and smiled. Oh, the dev team is grinding. These early phases are all back-end. Boring stuff, but I'll loop you in soon, promise. He tried to laugh. Yeah, totally. Just excited, you know? Rachel keeps asking. Of course she does, because she thought she was going to be the one to benefit most. Meanwhile, my parents called to check in every other day. They had clearly staked their hopes on this fake company too, already planning how to retire early once Sean's stake paid off. Dad even asked if I could loop in a cousin or two into this round of funding. I told him I'd see what I could do. It was like watching greedy kids with their noses pressed to the candy store window, except I was the window and the store was empty. But the pressure was starting to show. Rachel texted me more often now, just wondering if you need help organizing investors. Then, a few days later, want to grab coffee sometime and talk strategy? Just us? I didn't respond. Not because I didn't want to, but because silence is the best bait when someone's dangling over the edge. Instead, I sent Sean a heavily redacted progress update PDF. Buzzwords, fake timelines, a few graphs I made in Excel. Totally meaningless and completely convincing. He thanked me like I had just given him the Holy Grail. Bro, this is amazing. You're killing it. If only he knew. But here's where it got interesting. Someone in the family finally did get suspicious. Not Sean. Not my parents. My aunt. She called me one evening. Sweetheart, your mom mentioned this app of yours. She says you've got a dozen investors already? I played innocent. Oh yeah? Small thing. Not sure where it's going yet. She was quiet for a second, then said, just be careful who you let ride your coattails, honey. Not everyone who smiles at you is your friend. She didn't say it, but she knew, at least a part of it. And I appreciated that. I truly did. But I had to stay the course, because the show wasn't over yet. In fact, the main act was about to begin. It started with a text from Sean. Need to talk. ASAP. Face to face. He never wanted to meet in person unless something was wrong. So I agreed, calmly, and we met at a local diner. One we used to go to as kids. Funny how things change. Back then we split fries. Now he was trying to finesse 10 grand into a 6-figure return. He sat across from me, fidgeting with his phone. Didn't even wait for coffee. Look, man, he said, I've been thinking. This glide path thing, I've got contacts. People who know real investors. If you let me handle the marketing side, I can make this thing blow up. There it was. The pivot. The desperation disguised as leadership. He wanted in deeper, not to help, but to own a piece of what he thought was a gold mine. I leaned in and gave him a long look. Sean, I said slowly, I appreciate that. But this isn't a school project. We're dealing with serious people here. Venture capital groups. NDA-level discussions. You don't just walk in and start making calls. He didn't like that. Okay, he said, but I brought in money. I got mom and dad involved. Don't forget who helped you build this. I should have a say. I took a sip of my coffee and let the silence stretch. Then, quietly, I said, let me show you something. I reached into my bag and pulled out a folder. Inside, photocopies of every transaction I had logged. Every transfer. Every loan. A full breakdown of the money I'd sent to him, to our parents, over the past 6 years. Sean flipped through it with a growing scowl. What is this? Just making sure you remember who helped you, too. He didn't speak for a while. Then he snapped the folder shut and hissed. Are you threatening me? I smiled. Of course not. Just clarifying history before we rewrite it. He left the diner red-faced, mumbling something about lawyers and contracts. I let him go, because this wasn't about a legal battle. This was psychological warfare. And now he was nervous. But I wasn't done. That night, Rachel texted me again. Rachel, you okay? Sean's been acting weird. I think he's hiding something. Rachel, still want to grab that drink. She had no idea she was next. A few days after Sean's diner meltdown, I finally agreed to meet Rachel. I picked a trendy little bar downtown, quiet, discreet, upscale. The kind of place where people wear suits to drink overpriced cocktails and pretend they aren't miserable. She showed up wearing way too much perfume and not nearly enough subtlety. Smile wide, makeup flawless, eyes scanning the room like she was already dreaming of being the next tech CEO's wife. I played my part. Wow, she said, sitting across from me. You look different, relaxed. I smiled. I guess success agrees with me. She leaned forward, resting her chin on her hand like we were in a rom-com. Sean doesn't appreciate what he has. I always told him he should be more like you. Focused. Disciplined. Oh, so this was it. The seduction attempt. I let her talk, and she talked. About Sean's mood swings, how he was spending money they didn't have, and how she was starting to feel trapped. She was laying it on thick, but I didn't interrupt. Not even when she put her hand on mine and said, if you ever want someone to talk to, really talk to, I'm here. I looked her dead in the eye and said, you sure you want to say that, Rachel? She blinked. What do you mean? So I pulled out my phone and slid it across the table. There it was. A video file. Her, laughing with Sean and my parents, calling me a naive little wallet with legs, and screenshots of every flirty text she'd sent me. All saved, all time-stamped, all ready. Her face went pale, like someone pulled the plug on her blood supply. I leaned in. You know what's funny? You played the game so well, but you forgot I built the board. She stammered. You can't. You wouldn't. Oh, I would, I said calmly. But not yet. First, you're going to do something for me. That night, Rachel became my first unwilling ally. I told her I needed one thing. Keep playing along. Pretend nothing's wrong. Keep Sean close. Keep him comfortable. And when the time came, she'd know. She didn't agree. But she didn't say no, either. Fear is a powerful motivator. And just like that, I had eyes inside Sean's house. A queen on the board. And the next piece I was about to move was our parents. A week later, I invited my parents to lunch. Just us. Neutral ground. A nice Italian place with linen napkins and waiters who don't write things down because they just remember. They showed up glowing. Mom wearing her Sunday best. Dad in a button-up that still had the store tag tucked inside. You'd think they were meeting a venture capitalist, not their own son. We ordered. We smiled. We made small talk. Then I pulled out a single sheet of paper. Mom's expression changed. She always hated when I brought business stuff into family time. But I slid the paper across the table calmly. It was a summary of every dollar I had ever sent them. Totals highlighted. Not just gifts. Not just help. Every loan. Every favor. Every temporary assistance. My dad looked up. What's this? Your retirement fund, I said evenly. You've already spent it. All of it. I just wanted you to see how generous I've been. Mom shifted in her seat. Why are you showing us this? I folded my hands on the table. Because I know you lied about the mortgage. About the refinance. About the renovations. I know the house was never in danger. And I know you convinced Sean to funnel my money into his pockets. Not just with the food truck, but with this fake investment help nonsense. They stared at me. And for a split second, I saw something crack in my mother's face. Not guilt. Just fear. My father tried to salvage things. We're family. We've supported each other. No, I said sharp now. I supported you. I postponed my life, my travels, my future for this family. And you laughed behind my back. You used me. Mom opened her mouth. I held up a hand. I'm not asking for the money back. I know it's gone. But starting today, the bank is closed. No more help. No more transfers. And if either of you so much as hint at glide path to anyone outside this table, I slid over a second paper, a typed statement I had prepared with a lawyer. This goes public. It was a full account of their actions. Financial manipulation. Exploitation. With attached documentation. Their legacy, destroyed in a single PDF. My dad's lips were tight. He didn't even look at it. He just said, so that's it. I stood up and placed a few bills on the table. No, that's just the beginning. And I walked out. That night, I received a flurry of missed calls and guilt-laced voicemails. But I didn't answer, because while they were spinning in panic, I was already focused on the next target. 2 days after the lunch with our parents, Sean called me out of the blue. His voice was tight, overcompensating with fake confidence. Hey bro, got some big news. You remember my buddy Ryan from college? The one in fintech? I showed him the glide path pitch deck. He's in. Like, big time. He wants to invest 6 figures. I stayed silent for a beat. You shared confidential documents with an outsider? I asked flatly. There was a pause. Well, yeah, but it's family. He's cool. He said we don't even need legal stuff right away. Just a handshake agreement. There it was. The second to last piece moving itself into check. All right, I said. Let's meet. You, me, and Ryan. I'll pitch it properly. Sean took the bait instantly. We met at a co-working space I rented for the occasion. Minimal decor, just clean whiteboards, coffee, and enough buzz to seem legitimate. I even hired 2 actors to sit in nearby booths with laptops and earbuds, just to sell the startup vibe. Ryan, a slick guy in a too-tight blazer, showed up with a grin like he owned the future. I shook his hand and gave the most polished fake pitch of my life. Market gaps, synergy, scalable back-end optimization. Total nonsense. He nodded along like he was hearing the secrets of the universe. And then, the golden moment. He said, I'm ready to go in. Just send me wiring details. I leaned back and said, one thing first. I slid a document across the table. A cease and desist order. Prepared by my lawyer. Ryan frowned. What's this? This, I said calmly, is to prevent you from using any of this information because this company doesn't exist. This was a test. A setup. And you failed. Sean's face went white. What the hell are you doing? I turned to him. This entire thing? Glide path? Fake. I created it to see who would sell me out. Who would betray trust? Who would gamble with money that wasn't theirs? Ryan stood up, annoyed. You wasted my time, man. You'll be fine, I said, not even looking at him. Just don't try to sue. I've got you on camera agreeing to invest in a company without doing a single ounce of due diligence. And your investment pitch? I held up a voice recorder. All documented. Ryan stormed out. Sean looked like he wanted to melt through the floor. You set me up. No, I said coldly. You set yourself up. I just handed you the mirror. He sat there speechless. And for the first time in our lives, he didn't have a snarky comeback. No joke. No deflection. Just silence. He knew. It was over. But I wasn't done yet. Because there was one last domino left to fall. And she had no idea what was coming. Rachel thought she was untouchable, playing the part of the perfect wife to Sean while sliding me those little messages like a secret ally. She must have felt clever, like a queen controlling the board from both sides. But she forgot one thing. I don't lose track of pawns. After the cease and desist showdown with Sean and his fake investor, I sent Rachel a message. We need to talk. Your game is over. She agreed to meet, nervously this time. The same bar where I'd first baited her was our stage again. I didn't waste time. I played her the recordings, the flirty texts, the laughter at my expense, the mockery. Her eyes went wide, but I could see the gears turning. She wanted to argue, to blame, to twist it. I shook my head. No more games. Then, I laid out my terms. Rachel would publicly admit to Sean everything. Her lies, her manipulation, the way she used me to stir trouble. She'd apologize to me in writing. And, most importantly, she'd cut all ties with Sean's reckless schemes and help me make things right. At first, she tried to bargain. You don't want to ruin a family. I smiled coldly. The family ruined me. I'm just collecting debts now. By the end of the night, she'd sent a written apology, copied to Sean, my parents, and the lawyer. A formal statement acknowledging her deceit and pledging to support a fair resolution. Her downfall wasn't public scandal. It was worse. It was exposure, loss of trust, the knowledge that she was no longer a queen, but a pawn forced to confess defeat. And with her alliance broken, Sean was left isolated. No backup, no allies, just the consequences. After the dust settled with Sean and Rachel, I finally turned my attention to the biggest sacrifice I had made, myself. For years, I had put my dreams on hold. My escape plan, journal gathered dust while I sent money, time, and energy to people who didn't deserve it. But no more. I sat down with a travel agent and booked a one-way ticket to Japan, the first stop on my list. I called my boss and requested a 6-month sabbatical. No explanations. No guilt. When my parents called asking for help again, I was firm but polite. I'm focusing on myself right now. I hope you understand. Sean sent a few desperate texts, begging for a meeting. I didn't reply. For the first time in a decade, I felt light. No expectations. No strings. Just me, the open road, and the kind of freedom I dreamed of since I was a kid. I still care about my family, but now, it's from a distance. A healthy one. And the best part? I'm finally living my life for me. Looking back, I realize how easy it is to get trapped in the idea of family obligation, how love can be twisted into guilt, and how generosity can be exploited by those who see kindness as weakness. I learned the hard way that equal opportunities don't mean equal effort or respect. Sacrificing your dreams for people who don't appreciate it only leads to bitterness. Sometimes, you have to let go to grow, even if it means breaking ties. Revenge isn't about destruction. It's about reclaiming control and dignity. Trust is earned, not owed. If there's one piece of advice I'd give to anyone feeling used or stuck in a toxic family dynamic, it's this. Protect your dreams like they're your life's blood, because they are. Don't let anyone convince you that your future is less important than their convenience. And don't be afraid to walk away. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is say no. I'm not proud of how far I went with my revenge, but I don't regret it either. It was necessary for my peace, my sanity, and my freedom. Before I left town for good, I sent a carefully crafted email to everyone. My parents, Sean, Rachel, even a few distant relatives who had been involved in the drama without realizing it. It wasn't angry or vindictive. No threats. Just facts. Clear and concise. I attached the financial records, the transcripts, the apology from Rachel, and a note. This isn't about money. It's about respect. It's about truth. I gave you my trust, my time, my support, and you chose to mock it. I'm done being the family's fallback plan. I'm done sacrificing my life for people who didn't deserve it. I'm finally living my own story now. I hope you learn from this. Because I already have. I hit send. For the first time in years, I felt a calm I hadn't known was possible. No more lies. No more games. Just me. Finally free. Since sending that email, I haven't looked back. I spent months traveling. Japan's cherry blossoms, Norway's fjords, the colorful streets of Morocco. Every step was a reminder that life is too short to be wasted on people who don't value you. I rebuilt myself on my own terms. I found new friends, new passions, and most importantly, peace. I still carry scars from the betrayal. Sometimes, late at night, memories creep in. But those scars remind me of how far I've come. The family? They're still dealing with the fallout. I hear through the grapevine that things are tense, to say the least. But that's not my problem anymore. My problem used to be, how do I keep everyone happy while losing myself? Now it's, how do I live authentically and fully on my own terms? To anyone out there feeling trapped by family or circumstance, know this: you deserve more. You deserve respect. And you deserve to chase your own dreams without guilt. Sometimes, the loudest act of love is walking away. And sometimes, the best revenge is living well.